What's up? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. If you are not familiar with it by now, you need to have your Catgirl application membership revoked. Absolutely. Snatched from your hand, tossed in the garbage, and taken to the landfill. This is, it's ironic, I mentioned garbage and landfills because at some point I plan on talking about anime localizations. It is the next hot button topic right now. It's on all the anime nerds' lips and their fingertips. Blog posts are being made about this. Takedown videos are being made, all because of one guy who decided that he was going to fix a problem anime and then brag about it. So welcome to the Neko Mimi Cafe podcast, everyone. This is episode 7. Let's just jump in. So for the sake of transparency, I want to say that I have no love left for the dubbed side of the anime industry. And I know that this is probably where all of you are gonna, or a lot of you are gonna stop listening because you're only gonna hear, that part of it, and like nothing else that I'm gonna say, and you're gonna hate this video because I said I don't like dubs. How dare he? I never said that. Here comes the downvotes. That's not what I said. I said I don't have any love left in my cold black heart. Look, I appreciate that dubs exist, and I know that a lot of fans only watch anime because of English dubs or dubs in their native language. So, I acknowledge that dubs serve a purpose. They just no longer serve a purpose for me. I quit watching dubbed anime about, 6 years ago, I think. Yeah, and I only ever really watch something dubbed now, it's like out of, a sense of, say, nostalgia, or, because I'm pressured into it by a loved one. And then, I usually have to go through all of the motions, I have to put up a good show. I have to throw my hands up. I have to huff and puff, like I'm not getting good oxygen. I have to whine about it. And then we have to sit down and then we watch it. And I enjoy it. That's it. I think the best years for dubbed anime was between 2004 and 2014. And after that, everything just sort of started taking a turn, There were still some gems that would happen, but I don't know, once simuldubs became a thing, like the overall quality just sort of tanked, you had this breakneck pace that certain anime distributors were just producing dubbed episodes as fast as they could. And I felt like, it just ended up being both insane and abysmal at the same time. Most of the best vocal talent was just being spread out so thin. And then, you had vocal talent that started getting delusions of grandeur, celebrity status. And they would all go to conventions and start, charging outrageous prices for a signature on a DVD. And then when they made the shift to social media, they became a bunch of whining douchebags along with everyone else. Pause for dramatic effect. All right, so we got blog posts, articles, all manner of stuff to go over, and you know what? I really don't want to have to read all of this crap. But we do need to go through some of it. The future. Oh my God, I feel like the future of anime depends on it, according to my inner paranoid otaku. If you really truly admit it, I think deep down we all have a little elitist bastard otaku inside of us, some green-eyed monster that roams the hallways of our subconscious, just waiting for that one moment when we can lash out. Cowboy Bebop is the greatest anime ever made, mister. I demand to see your manager. Oh my god, someone actually said they didn't like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I can't even right now. I don't know why my inner otaku monster sounds like a Karen at Starbucks, but hey, we're working on it. So as you may know, if you've been in the anime scene, as you may know, there was a recent fiasco over the English dub of One Lovely Complex. It is a rom-com anime from way back in the day based on the manga series of the same name. And essentially it is a romantic comedy about a tall girl and a short boy. The end. I can't tell you much more than that because I haven't really watched it. It was just one of those shows that, I don't know, maybe just it never hit my radar. So this whole thing came to light because of some blog posts that YouTuber and amateur voice actor Brendan Blabber, aka Jello Apocalypse, posted on his Patreon. And he basically made a couple of lengthy rants about his involvement in the localization of the English script. So, how this works in the industry is you get an anime, right? And you have, say you're going to put a subtitle to it, so you get your translator to work and they do their best. At least here's the idea, okay? They're supposed to be as least invasive as possible. The idea, and there's like a handbook, there are professional books available on translating television and movies. And you want to be as inconspicuous as possible. You want the subtitles to feel so natural that you almost don't even notice that they're there, right? So there's a definite trick to being a translator and a subtitleist, I guess. But when it comes to turning something into an English dub, then you have to take the translation and then you have to make your language fit with mouth flaps, breaks, all this other stuff. And there's a certain amount of localization that happens, sometimes, let's just say, to make it as absolutely dumbed down as possible, it's like converting the imperial system to the metric system, right? Think of it like that. That's the core basic concept. So that was what Brendan Blabber was brought on to do. Okay? He was brought on to help out with the localization of the English script for Lovely Complex. So there's a lot of words in these posts, in these blog posts. And, I'm just, God, honestly, I feel like a good 80% of these blog posts are just him shit talking the issues with the anime. And then the rest is just Blabber stroking his ego like it was a chicken with a really, really long neck. Ultimately, it came down to this. Blabber had a problem with the anime, both in terms of the characters and the nature of some of the subject matter. And I'm going to briefly read over these posts here to give some context. Okay, so let's see. All right. So, hey all, at various points over the last 2 years, my best pal, Marissa Lenti, and I were working on dubbing an old anime called Lovely Complex, aka Lovecom. You might have heard us whispering quietly about some kind of project in old streams. Well, this was it. My involvement started when Marissa told me she was annoyed about having to localize the scripts for this show because she had just watched through the show and didn't really like the characters. I thought this would be a good opportunity to get some experience writing localization scripts in case I ever wanted to write a dub. Maybe Bomberman Jetters or something. I don't know. So I volunteered to help out. The two of us spent many hours across many days slogging through Lovecom episodes. And while Marissa thought she sort of hated Lovecom's original writing, I came to the conclusion that I definitely hated Lovely Complex. Yes. It is quite unprofessional to openly shit talk a property you've worked on in this industry. You know, I just want to say it's probably unprofessional to do that in any industry. Okay? That is likely to have some recourse. All right, continuing. Lenti cannot express any opinions as they have an official relationship with Sound Cadence Studios, with Discotech and Toei Animation. I, however, was a freelancing contractor and do not have any of those things. I am not speaking for Lenti anywhere in this post. Who can say what Lenti thinks? I'm sure I don't know. But I will tell you what I think. And I think that Lovecom is a bad show about Riza Koizumi, an actual psychopath and all over useless freak. Wow. Tell us what you really think about it. Despite everything, and this is going to be taken from, I think, the second blog post. Like I said, there is a lot in these posts where he just sort of spins his wheels, griping about the issues with the show, complaining about the characters, literally dunking on the characters at great length, and their relationship and all of that stuff. So I know it seems very cherry picked, and I'm hoping that I can keep this within some kind of context here. So to continue, despite everything about the original incarnation of this anime, this dub turned out just so funny. We really funneled our frustrations into comedy and wrote a lot of good jokes, while also improving as much of the relationship between the leads as possible. There were a lot of scenes where Risa yells at Otani, and a lot of scenes where Otani reacts to Risa by inappropriately laughing at her. Many of you probably already know this about me, but I am a romantic and love writing actual good romance. Trademark. Because nobody else on earth seems to know how to do it. Improving the relationship between the leads in Lovecom took surgical precision, and I still wouldn't call it a healthy relationship, but I did my absolute best to make sure Risa and Otani had enough positive characteristics that them falling for each other made some kind of sense. I think we especially improved Otani. He starts kind of annoying, but by the end of the series, I think I would call him genuinely pretty cute. Risa is unsalvageable, though. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of we fixed this, we improved this, improved that, improved Otani. Fun fact, we canonically wrote and directed Risa as a psychopath who doesn't understand empathy and Otani being in a cycle of abuse without realizing it, because that's the only way their highly inconsistent actions make any kind of sense. At one point, Otani literally tells Risa he, quote, bought a gift for her in preparation for the next time she got mad at him, which is what resolves their current tiff. That's a trauma response, and it's in the sub. Frankly, having the dub come out this good in the end is a little frustrating. Anyone who watched the show as a kid and has fond memories of it and revisits the dub will think, wow, it's just as good as I remembered. No, it isn't. We made it good. This show sucked. The amount of rough edges we shaved off of this are entirely invisible unless you buy the Blu-ray and turn on the dub while keeping the Japanese subtitles on, which allows you to listen to our edits in real time. So I know that in all of their blog posts and their videos and their discourses, everyone is putting JoJo Apocalypse just on blast, right? And here's the thing. I feel like Marissa Lenti is being sort of left unscathed here. I feel like this was it was made clear that this was something of a joint effort on their part. At no point did he say he acted entirely alone. So, yeah, I feel like that both of them hated the show so much, they changed the characters to better suit their, I don't know, what do you want to call this? Their idealized interpretation. And this is why you never let anyone in the industry do anything for free. Look, I realized that Amber Lee Connors was basically doing this as a passion project. It was like a big labor of love. And you know, most of the talent that was brought in, you know, they were brought in on favors. But here's the thing about getting a paycheck, right? When you're a freelance contractor, when you're getting a paycheck, you know, you have a client, right? The client is the customer, and the customer is always right. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. You are getting paid to do a job. And, you know, I mean, here's the thing. Let's just say you're a chef. You're a freelance chef. All right. You get paid. You get contracted to do a job for one evening. Come in, work at a restaurant. And let's say you are an uppity type that likes his steak a certain way. Great. I mean, you don't like well done steak. You wouldn't be caught dead with the well done steak on your plate. And you make it a point never to cook anyone well done steak. But you're here to do a job. Right? And if you're the chef and I pay you $18 for a well done steak, by God, you are going to cook my steak until it is burned like the damned. Because you're getting paid to do a job. And because Blabber wasn't getting paid, I guess maybe he took that as carte blanche to do as he pleased. I mean, I'm just assuming here. Or else he himself was a complete psychopath. I don't know. So, of course, as a result of this incident, you know, he'll be lucky if he ever gets to work in anime again. And in fact, you know, I would prefer if he limited his writing talents, you know, his masterful skills at romance, TM, trademark, you know. I would prefer if he limited his writing skills, kept it within the realms of bad fan fiction. Go write some effing Steven Universe fanfic. Leave the anime community alone. You have literally lost your You have lost the right to be considered a fan. We revoke your fan status. Yeah, I'm doing that. I said that. The real issue here isn't so much that he did this. I mean, it's bad, okay? It's real bad. It's a bad look for everyone involved. But because it brings to light a problem that fans have suspected and have had a problem with for a long time, okay? And that is the accuracy of anime translations. Right? This isn't just about dubs versus subs. This is about source material preservation. I understand that when it comes to translating a language, there's a lot that has to be considered, okay? And maybe not everyone knows this. Maybe, I'm sure there are anime fans that just think that there's like a magic 8-ball that you stuff a bunch of Japanese scripts into, you shake it up, you pop the lid, you dump it out, and out comes a great English dub, a great translation. But Japanese is a language that seems straightforward on the surface. I mean, it is one of the hardest languages to learn, but it seems straightforward. But once you start digging beneath all of the layers, it is quite complex. And when it comes to things like characterizations, you know, these characters have unique voices, all delivered in distinctive ways of speaking. You know, sometimes you'll have a quirky character that talks in the third person. You know those characters? Sometimes you'll see them in anime where they refer to themselves in the third person. You'll get a character that uses old-fashioned and outdated language, really archaic stuff, because the mangaka or the author wanted their character to speak in a unique way. So they're using words that are completely out of circulation in modern Japanese. You know, like they haven't been used for effing 40 or 50 years. You get a character that speaks overly casual, like way too casual, or overly sophisticated, way too proper. And these nuances, okay, these nuances don't always make it into localizations. Sometimes they can make it into the sub, but it's really hard to convey contextual, the subtle context and nuance. Okay, nuance is very hard to do in a subtitle format. Okay, you can do it in a language, in a spoken language, but sometimes it's really hard to catch on when it's written, when you're reading it on a screen. All right. I mean, hell, how many characters from Osaka have you watched in an anime that get dubbed with some kind of southern accent, like they're from Texas or the South, because the translators can't get the dialect across in English? Okay? Because the translators, the localizers, can't get the dialect across in English. So they give them that hillbilly accent there. I just went and punched a cow. I'm gonna get my hillbilly boots on. I'm gonna go to town. God. There are sources that estimate that Japan has like up to 50 different dialects. You know, I mean, mix that together with pop culture jokes, okay, historical references, puns, linguistic wordplay, and honorifics. Yeah. It's no wonder that most English dubs just barely get the job done. All right, so if one guy pissed off about an anime that was a product of its time decides to make some cuts and essentially censor the living shit out of it, and we know about this one, how many do we not know about? Look, here's what's going to happen. Here's what this is going to do. It's going to solidify the idea that translators and localizers can't cut it. And it's going to push the Japanese animation industry further toward AI. All right. They'll just say frack it and they'll do it themselves and it will be bad. And if the Japanese industry decided to do this, they decided to use AI to dub their anime into whatever language they wanted to and sell it from their own shores, we'd be in trouble. Now, as much as we want to blame Brendan Blabber for this, nah. Look, he's just the flavor of the month, okay? He's the inevitable residue that happens when an industry at its core believes that it fundamentally knows better than the source material, okay? When industry believes that it can fix the problems, we are gonna fix the mistakes. We're gonna fix and guys, they've been doing this for years, okay? This is not new, right? How many decades have they been trying to fix the problems with Mark Twain? We're gonna fix the problems with Snow White. We're gonna fix the problems with Orwell and Milton because we just know better, right? So the real culprit here, the real culprits are the people in charge. I mean, maybe Amberly Connors isn't the sort of person who would make drastic changes to a beloved anime because it was problematic, because it was a product of its time. But who vetted these people, right? Who vetted Linty? Who vetted Blabber? Putting these hacks in charge of a delicate process like this, a nuanced process like this, is the same as letting a Law and Order fan give you legal advice, right? And now we get to forever wonder. We get to forever wonder how many anime Linty has secretly hated and has effed up in the name of, we made it better. And this, my guys, is just one more reason why I don't really watch dubs. Now, an update went out from Justin Savakis, who's like the big shot at Discotheque. And Discotheque is being just blasted, right? Because, and for good reason, because all of this crap went down. Look, when crap goes down and executives go, huh? What? We didn't know? Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. Okay? You're going to get blasted, guy. Expect it. But yeah, Savakis Sonata update and, basically fired Jello Apocalypse. Yeah, we're never going to work with Jello Apocalypse again. Great. Did we expect anything less? But there was an update that went out, and it's a little confusing because it's a quote, it's a Twitter quote, and Savakis is not being very clear, so I'm going to have to sort of paraphrase to make it make sense. But it implies that the dubs were not cut, that content was not changed, and that the lines that claimed to be changed were actually in the English dub, which I really don't believe. I'm sorry, Justin. I have a hard time believing you, my guy. If this thing was done on a shoestring budget, right? If it was a labor of love and people were doing this for free, then what magic money, what magic method did they use to redub the lines with or make these changes? Okay, if this was done on a shoestring budget and they only had enough go juice for one shot, then did they just go with what Jello Apocalypse wrote and Linty wrote? Or did they catch Did they catch them before they could ruin everything? I really don't know. It is such a confusing mess. I mean, honestly, it just sounds so suspicious. So, I mean, I'll just wait until the dub comes out and I'll see for myself. The proof, you know, as they say, is in the pudding. Like, I'm not trying to advocate that all dubs are bad here. Don't think that. I'm not saying that. I am saying that localization needs to step it up, okay? There needs to be more transparency in the way that changes are made to an anime, and I think these changes need to be communicated with the original license holders in Japan. I mean, what does Japan actually think about this? Do they just sign off on an anime and just forget that it ever existed unless there's a major incident somewhere? Look, I know somebody is going to bring up Ghost Stories in the comment section. Ghost Stories got a horrible dub. They changed it around. This isn't Ghost Stories. Ghost Stories was like 1 billion years ago and nobody cares about that anymore. Stop bringing it up. My brother in Christ, that shoe does not fit. Look, I know not everyone is going to be happy. Okay, we can't make everyone happy. Not all the anime fans are going to like everything that's done in the industry. Someone's going to be mad. Someone's going to complain about something. They're going to complain about the English dub actor. They're going to complain about the sub translation, the effing font for the subs. They're going to complain about the fact that the opening song doesn't have its stupid ass bouncing baby sing-along so that you can belt out the lyrics of a 1 minute, 20-second opener and feel proud of yourself for singing Kai Kai Kitan. The past few years have just not been all that great for the anime industry. Sony has managed to swallow up everything they can get their hands on like some kind of giant black hole in the middle of space. Now we've got more issues. If ever there was a time that anime fans needed to stick together on something, it's now. It's this. Okay? And don't just trust the executives. We need to make them show their work. So that's where I'm going to end. That's it for this episode of the Neko Mimi Cafe podcast. I am ready to go grab a coffee and get started on the next video because YouTube stops for no one. So yeah, thoughts, opinions, all of that stuff, take it down to the comment section and let's get some conversation going. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see more episodes, then be sure to subscribe. We also do new video game news and updates, as well as the occasional live stream, so feel free to check that out as well. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when we go live. So, that's it. Until next time, have an amazing day, everyone. My name is Gruzbee, and this has been the Neko Mimi Cafe podcast. Keep being awesome, and I will see you all in the next episode.